everyone. I'm Adam Brown, and this is Show Point Today for Wednesday, January 7th. On today's show, we'll hear about another upcoming Academy class. We'll pay a visit to the stamp room to see last week's celebration of a significant milestone of accomplishment. And we'll hear from Jeff Cory, who is back in the saddle again as Executive Director of the Legacy Foundation. Before we get to that, we want to remind you that the Photo Club meets tomorrow at 2:15 in the Social Center on the island. Bring your holiday photos, 8x10 or larger, and share them on the Critics Wall for display and discussion. Another topic for discussion will be the 2015 Photo Show and Contest, as well as a springtime field trip to Babcock Ranch. Directly following the meeting, stay for a 30-minute National Geographic video featuring useful tips for better photography. Please note that this meeting will take place on the second Thursday of each month. And we want to give you ample advance time to get signed up for a dinner outing taking place this coming Monday, the 12th. The bus will head out to Connor's Steak and Seafood in Estero. Enjoy delicious appetizers, wood-grilled USDA prime steaks and chops, and seafood. Entrees are typically priced between $11 and $30. Cost for transportation is just $8. Island pickups start at 4:30 p.m. and approximate return time will be 8 p.m. Now, Terry Kolath is here with Brian Oxley for a preview of his upcoming Academy class, The Hound of Heaven.
Hi, everyone. I'm Terry Kolath. I'm here today with a special guest, a presenter in the Academy of Lifelong Learning. His name is Brian Oxley of Periwinkle and other places. Thank you for joining me, Brian.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Pastor Andy gave me a call and said, we have a great opportunity to look at the Hound of Heaven in the Academy. And I said, well, tell me more. And he told me about this man, Brian Oxley, who had made films about the poem, The Hound of Heaven. And I wanted you to spend a few minutes telling our Show Point residents what we have.
I'd love to. It's a great poem. In fact, Tolkien, who wrote The Lord of the Rings, and G.K. Chesterton both say it could be the greatest poem ever written. It's from the 19th century, and I'll just kind of read a line from the poem that I think is so beautiful.
Okay.
I fled him down the nights and down the days. I fled him down the arches of the years. And it's an autobiographical poem by a man named Francis Thompson. And he's basically talking about his life. And he was running from God. And no matter what he did, he couldn't shake him. And he used the hound from heaven, of course, being God, but the Irish hound is relentless in his pursuit. You can't, if it chased the rabbit, you know.
The rabbit won't win.
It won't win, yeah. So he picked the Irish hound as an image of God that will just pursue you, the great pursuer, because of his love for you. So it's not so much a story about the church, it's really about the one-on-one God loving you, the individual, and pursuing you. So that's the essence of the poem.
Why don't we know more about this poem, Brian?
Well, it's really, I've been asking that question because it's such a great poem, but it is from the 19th century, during the Victorian era. And, you know, England is not as interested in Christian, its Christian heritage. I think that's part of the problem. In fact, when we were filming The Hound of Heaven in England, we went to his gravesite of Francis Thompson, and it was unkept. It looked like nobody been there in 100 years. Amazing. So, you know, just because he wrote a great poem, if not the greatest poem, doesn't mean that people haven't forgotten, and they have. And that's really been my vision for this poem, is to resurrect it and bring it, you know, to the modern audience.
How did it start? How did you come upon this poem?
Well, as many things in my family, it started with my wife, And I have an interest in what they call emblem books, very common books in the 17th century, and they're basically picture books. And my wife found this book right here called it's the Hound of Heaven, and the illustrations in this book were so wonderful that I said, that's the artist that I would like help me with my emblem books. So actually, as a result of this book, Hound of Heaven, I ended up hiring this artist. He still works for me full time and does illustrations for me. But so this is the book that started me on a very interesting journey. And then, of course, I read the poem and fell in love with it.
It's amazing. And the English of the time was very different than what we understand. So what you've done is present it to us in a way that's more understandable.
Well, there's 3 versions, believe it or not. I tend to go all the way. One is, which we'll be showing, is basically it's a documentary about the whole poem. In the documentary, we hired David Touche from Agatha Christie, one of the most credible voices, to narrate the poem. So it is beautiful. It doesn't mean you totally understand it, but when you hear the documentary, you'll get the whole backdrop, and it may want you to dig into the poem and spend time with it. Right. I'm also going to show a modern adaptation of the poem. I think it's very good, but you take a big risk when you take a great classic and you try to dumb it down, so to speak, for our generation. But we have attempted to do that, and it's really geared for young people. But I would sure love people at Shell Point who may have kids, who do have kids and grandkids, maybe to see if it may be something, if they liked it, they may want their kids or their grandkids to see. So, and then there's actually a third, which will not be shown at this particular time, but it's an incredible situation that's occurred. It's a live action version of the Hound of Heaven. And it was presented at the film festival in London called Rain Dance, which is the largest film festival in Europe, and a film festival that rarely would allow a Christian film into it. And we were selected. And in fact, the Hollywood Reporter actually wrote an article that we have been accepted. It's not out in the open because now we're pursuing other film festivals. But just to show you kind of the risks we took, is the narrator of that live action is a rapper, and so we took some liberties, let's say, but it's the original poem. So we actually have 3, but we're going to show the documentary, and we're going to show the modern adaptation. The modern adaptation is maybe 12 minutes. The documentary is maybe 25 minutes. Fabulous. Yeah.
And then we'll have a little Brian Oxley in between.
Yeah, anybody have, questions? Sure. But let me just share something about this. Francis Thompson. His parents were very successful. His father was a doctor, and they wanted him to be either a priest, because he was Catholic, Francis Thompson, or become a doctor. Well, he wanted to be a poet. And back then, it was like nobody believed poetry could be a legitimate profession. And but he went to London. He was destitute. I'll just read this little line. When he submitted some of his poetry to a publisher, part of his note was, "The next day I spent the halfpenny on 2 boxes of matches, and again began the struggle for life." So here he was, struggling in the streets of London, got into all sorts of problems, especially he started taking laudanum, which is like opium in the liquid form. And of course that was a problem back then because they didn't really know about its addicting problems. And anyway, so that's part of the story is, I mean, he almost dies, and in the midst of his trouble, at the lowest point in his life, he writes this poem, The Hound of Heaven. And so if you learn his story, which a documentary will share, all of a sudden you first, to some degree, you identify with him because, you know, we've all had our low moments.
Sure.
And to see something so beautiful, so incredible come out of, you know, his mind at that point is the poem, and that's what I want to share with people.
Fabulous. Well, we are so delighted you're bringing us this gift.
Yes.
And I encourage everyone to join us. We're going to be in the Village Church Auditorium. No registration necessary, room for everybody. And we're going to start at 10:15, and we have Brian Oxley for an hour and a half, his films and his experience. Please join us.
We paid a visit to the stamp room in the Island Tunnel last week to celebrate with the volunteers there as they heard the announcement about the grand total the project raised in 2014, and everyone was in for a surprise.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad that you have been able to come this morning. Some of you have been volunteering in the stamp room for years. Some of you have been volunteering here in the room, also at home. You know, bring your stamps, you get new ones, and we thank you for all of the hours that you've spent. We also have some very new volunteers, and we're pleased to have them come. We wanted you to be present as we take a look at what the Lord has allowed us to do in 2014 and realize that each one of you have had something to do with that. And for that, we're extremely grateful. Another $5,000 went in December, $41,000 for the year. And I'm just amazed that when they shut us down and started the reconstruction here, I kept thinking, my goodness, we are going to be so far behind, so far behind. But you were very vigilant in coming to the train room, picking up stamps, taking them home, dealing with them, bringing them back, getting more, and it's just terrific. So $41,000 for this year. That brings us to a grand total. Look at this. Immediate display. $854,361. And you people need applause. Just to bring to your attention, 1972, the first year the stamp ministry generated $4,100. 2014, 41,000. Quite an improvement. Now, the school where our nieces and nephews attended, they had a saying that by the yard, it's hard, by the inch, it's a cinch. Well, when we would have boxes and boxes and boxes of stamps over there under the bins, I kept thinking, we are never going to get through those. But if you take it one stamp at a time, as you people have done, we've been able to stay on top of it and, you know, come out from 7 weeks of being closed. So, in celebration of that, I'll just explain that we have a yard of chocolates. All right? And now is the time for your poppers. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Boy, was that impressive.
Jeff Cory is the new executive director of the Legacy Foundation. Well, he's really not so new. He held the position previously before Tim Stevenson's 7-year tenure. So you may say that he's back for his second time around, but that actually wouldn't be quite right either, because this is actually Jeff's third time to work for Shell Point. Some people just can't stay away from a good thing. So we welcome Jeff back to Shell Point. He came by the studio to reintroduce himself.
Hi, my name is Jeff Cory, and I'm the new Executive Director of the Legacy Foundation here at Shell Point. Some of you may know that I first began serving at Shell Point over 20 years ago, and later helped found the Legacy Foundation in 2001. It's great to be back home. I've spent my career serving individuals and families, helping them navigate through the estate planning process to make the greatest impact for loved ones and the charities they support. I'm a certified financial planner and a chartered financial consultant, and most recently served as the Vice President of Advancement at Nyack College in New York. The Legacy Foundation is a one-stop financial concierge resource for residents who have questions regarding their financial, estate, and philanthropic plans. We provide trusted, confidential advisory services, educational programming, and work with the finest legal, tax, and professional advisors in the area, all with the goal to provide you, our residents, with financial security, individualized attention, and peace of mind. Many of you may be familiar with our Daily Money Manager program that assists residents with bill paying, insurance, taxes, and a host of financial resources when managing your finances just becomes too much of a burden. Our staff welcomes the opportunity to serve you. There's never a cost or obligation to visit with us and to learn more about our services and how we can help you. An important part of the Legacy service is reviewing current estate plans, including wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and advanced health care directives. If it's been some time since you took a look at these important documents, contact our office today at 466-8484 to schedule an appointment. Our office is located on the island by the Manatee Room, or we're delighted to meet you at your home. It's great to be back here at Shell Point, and I look forward to visiting with you soon at the Legacy Foundation. Best wishes for a happy and prosperous new year.
Now it's time to cover all of today's happenings, academy news, menus, and village church connections.
Welcome to the Happenings segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandley, and I'm here with Caitlin Van Scoy, and we're going to go over the activities we offer for you here today at Shell Point. It's a bright and early start with 7:45 men's Bible study in the Osprey Room on the island. Then we'll jump to 8 o'clock for the men's match play doubles tennis. At 8:45, Lily and Company Jewelers will be here for their weekly jewelry service. That's in the Resident Activities Center. The Resident Council will be meeting in the Social Center at 8:45. Jurassic Travel will be in the Egret Room at 9 o'clock. Also at 9 o'clock, we have the watercolor group with Phil Hilton. That's down in the tunnel in the art studio. At 9:15, we have the card making and scrapbooking group. That's in the Tarpon Room. The ladies' Bible study group will be in the Osprey Room at 10 o'clock. Also at 10 o'clock, we have the men's match play tennis. The Model Yacht Sailing Club will be at the Woodland Commons Lake at 10:15, sailing their boats. And we'll go to 11 o'clock where we have a Shell Point Garden Society meeting. That's in the Oak Room down at the Commons. At 11:30, we have the Health Connections class, specifics in cardio conditioning. That's in the Health Club, and that's currently full. That's it for the morning. Here's Caitlin for the afternoon.
Thank you, Bev. We start our afternoon off with 1 p.m. chess in the Library Lounge on the island. And from 1:30 to 3:30, the model train room will be open for viewing and tours. At 1:45, we have a Health Connections class, Balance and Mobility Training Level 1. That's in the Health Club on the island, and it's currently closed. Come out and listen to Jazz and Stuff at 2:30 in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. And at 3 o'clock, we have Bible study in the Community Room of King's Crown on the island. We have a Health Connections class at 3 p.m., Pilates Stretch in the Health Club on the island. And at 3 p.m., we have the Memory Care Group meeting in the conference room of the Behavior Health Office, and sign-up is required for that. 3:30, we have another Health Connections class, Aqua Agility and Conditioning, at the LifeQuest Aquatic Center on the island. Come out for pickleball at 4 o'clock at the pickleball courts on the island. And we have indoor bocce at 4:30 in the Health Club on the island. If you're in the church choir, you have rehearsal at 5:45 in the choir room of the village church. And we finish today off with 7:15 prayer and praise at the village church on the island. Well, thank you for joining us for the Happening segment. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Wednesday. At 9 o'clock, Digital Camera Prep School begins in the Sable Room of the Woodlands. Please sign up at either service desk. At 10:15, iWorks Word Processing will begin in the Computer Teaching Center on the island. Sign up is required. And then at 1 o'clock, another class to sign up for, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain in the Sable Room at the Woodlands. At 1 o'clock, our first session of Intermediate Bridge will begin in the Game Room of the Woodlands, and sign up is required. At 3 o'clock, Basic Prep School will begin in the Computer Center at the Woodlands. I'd like to tell you about our new classes coming tomorrow. Jim Plummer of Parkwood will be teaching Gmail accounts. And then we have Mahjong Basics with Mary Jane Atkinson of Parkwood and two Eagles Preserve ladies, Karen Lieberless and Mac Nichols.
Menus for Wednesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is sherry mushroom chicken with wild rice pilaf and spinach. The dinner special is the pasta buffet for $13.95, and the soup of the day is lima bean. In the Island Cafe for lunch, the special is a turkey club with onion rings for $7.25. The dinner special is fried shrimp for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are shrimp pomodoro for $13.95 or grilled sirloin for $15.95. Menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, Randy Woods, and it's the new year. And as has been our tradition, we start the New Year Season of Praise concert with the King's Brass. Again, this year it is our privilege to welcome Tim Zimmerman and the King's Brass back to Shell Point by popular demand. Throughout the years, many have enjoyed their concerts. Each concert is new and exciting. Again, this year you will be thrilled as you listen to the inspirational music of the King's Brass with 3 trumpets, 3 trombones, tuba, percussion, piano, and occasionally the organ. These 5 musicians come from symphonies all over the country, and they devote their time and energy to being a part of the ministry of the King's Brass, traveling throughout the United States. And again this year, on Sunday night, January 11th, we will welcome them to the stage here at the Village Church. The concert is at 6:15 and tickets are $10. You can get them at the church throughout the week or stop by the office and pick them up even the day of the concert. I anticipate having a full house, so I would encourage you to get them early. Again, the program will feature the classics as well as the traditional hymns and some contemporary praise songs. And Tim Zimmerman is just a fine musician, a great artist. As they share in the ministry, you will be encouraged, you'll be inspired and entertained through the toe-tapping music and the inspiration of the King's Brass. Be sure to join us this Sunday night at the Village Church as we welcome Tim Zimmerman and the King's Brass. Look forward to seeing you there.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow when we continue our rundown and preview another Academy class, this time about Winston Churchill. Dave McJoint and Dee Dee Darcy will be by to talk about the Shell Point Singers. And Melody Desolé will be on hand to talk about the importance of reporting your volunteer hours for 2014. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Wednesday, January 7th. I'm Adam Brown, and for all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.